the answers, tell me the answers. I could find you, I could find
From the Sporting News Studios, this is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Matt Litevsky.
I got all the answers, all the answers. I could find you, I could find all the answers. If you let me get it close and study you.
We are here, back for week 7. It was an exciting week for all of us, right, Eric?
Was it exciting?
Well, it wasn't exciting. Eric Ferreira, fantasy football enthusiast.
Becoming less enthusiastic by the week.
I think we all are. He's here. We're going to do our normal rundown, look at some things we got wrong last week, look at the most searched, highest trending players for this week, do some sleeper and bust picks for week 7, talk about some other random stuff like we always do. But I wanted to start kind of with off the board a little bit from all this stuff.
Not on the podcast review notes?
A little bit off the board. So this week in our Sporting News League.
Are you coming in hot right now?
In our Sporting News League. Well, I'm not going to talk about what happened in the league. I'm going to talk about what happened last night.
Yeah, you're still going to come in hot.
Waivers. 2 running backs that are handcuffs to running backs I owned were wavered.
Right, who was the other one? Oh, Mozart?
Yeah, Mozart, Amadeus. And no one, and other people claimed them. I had the number 1 waiver claim, and I said, you could have Doug Martin, and you could have Raheem Mostert if you want. Good move or bad move?
For you, this probably doesn't matter. We just talked right before.
You wavered Doug Martin.
I wavered Doug Martin. He was my second claim.
During his bye week.
I was on tilt.
Okay.
I was on tilt this week. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my team. There's no way to fix anything.
And you thought Doug Martin was the answer?
No, I thought Taylor Gabriel was the answer. And he was wavered before, and I did the whole, if I don't get this guy, let me put in this guy.
Sure.
And Martin was on my list, but I kind of didn't think I was going to get him because I assumed I'd get Gabriel.
Someone else.
Well, no, I thought I'd get Gabriel.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, so you didn't even want Martin, really?
I saw the Marshawn Lynch update last night.
Yeah.
I knew that they were on bye anyway, and I was like, well, let me just throw it in, but I'm probably going to get Gabriel anyway.
Imagine.
Sure enough, I woke up this morning, didn't get Gabriel, got Doug Martin.
But you could have gotten Willie Snead.
And I thought at least what I was going to get for the price of that waiver claim was you complaining that I got Doug Martin because you own Marshawn Lynch.
If you think I care about Doug Martin.
And I didn't even get that.
When I'm not doing well anyway.
I didn't even get that.
On his bye week, you are sorely mistaken. All right. Let's look back. We're going to talk about some of those players and more later on. We always put ourselves on trial over things we got wrong last week. And Alex, who hasn't been here now, I don't even know
who's Alex.
It really feels that way at this point.
Yeah.
But we do, since we didn't do it last week, we got to go back to the Patrick Mahomes update.
Got to do it.
He was steadfastly against Mahomes after weeks 1 and 2. Said he wouldn't get to 34.5 touchdowns. And where are we at? What's the count?
Well, we're at 18 passing, 2 rushing.
Okay.
We're still not sure how to count the rushing, if that counts toward
I think we ultimately settled on total, so
right.
it all counts for
on pace for 48 passing.
That's a lot.
So under the record,
right.
but still over the over-under that you what did you say?
44.5.
44.5.
I just threw a number up.
Still pacing strong there.
Right.
What I found interesting, I don't know if you want how much you want to say on Mahomes. What I found interesting is when I was looking those up, is that sneakily, Andrew Luck has got 16 passing right behind him.
Sneaky
this
Andrew
guy
Luck.
with bad shoulder and all that.
Bad feet.
He's got 16, still on pace for 43, and your boy Phillip Rivers has got 15 on pace for 40. I know those aren't record-breaking numbers.
How many to Keenan Allen?
Not a lot, maybe none. I'm not even sure.
I think
Does he have one?
I think he got one.
So I guess my point is, these aren't record-breaking pace, but everyone's talking about Mahomes.
Right.
I mean, Luck's right there, 2 behind him.
It's always how it happens every year. Some guys start hot, slow down. Other guys get hotter. And all those so-and-so's on pace for never comes to fruition. So
Never. Sometimes it comes to fruition.
I don't even know. But I feel like the people who do set records, it's usually because they have a big middle stretch. It's not start hot, stay hot, finish hot.
Well, that's how I always feel in baseball, right? It's always like how you start and how you finish. But everyone forgets all that stuff in the middle.
All counts the same.
You kind of forget about that stuff.
Right. So anyway, Patrick Mahomes, still awesome. Alex, still wrong and still not here. All right, some things I was wrong about last week. I thought Wendell Smallwood would break out, and I thought Antonio Callaway would break out. Neither did. Smallwood, I think, is more important for fantasy purposes because it looks like Corey Clement is, quote-unquote, the lead back.
Yeah, it
But
certainly seemed like that.
Do you think could that change week to week?
Yeah, I don't think Clement is very durable.
Right, that's
He's had
important.
multiple injuries this year already, and I forget if I'm not sure if he played 16 games last year. I'm sure he probably didn't.
That's great analysis.
But yeah, they do still seem to like Smallwood for. Did he out-carry him still? I know he didn't. Clement had more yards, but they still like to go to like. It's not like Smallwood wasn't on the field. It was fairly even touch-wise.
18 carries for Smallwood, 11 for Clement. But he got the early touchdown.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, based on that, Smallwood's still the lead back.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like early in that game, Smallwood had the first couple drives, and then it was Clement.
Well, Clement had a few bigger plays.
Right.
Then Smallwood had that fumble that he recovered, but then stayed in the game.
Right.
So.
And neither did much in the receiving game, but Clement was more.
And there's still the potential of Sproles coming back at some point. I think it's going to be a pretty solid split, though, in Philly, don't you think?
We'll see. Yeah. It was.
I don't know if either of those guys.
2.8 yards a carry for Smallwood.
I don't know if either of those guys is really good enough to run away with
they're the team that could make the trade, right? We saw last year they did that with Ajayi.
Right.
They do it this year with McCoy.
Bills keep saying no. They like him as a veteran leader.
I'm sure they do. What a leader that guy is. And then Callaway, I just want to mention him because I swear his nickname should be either near miss or he had a step. This guy every single week
he's leaving.
Is open on a deep ball in the end zone and his quarterback can't get it to him. And then he drops other passes at other various points on the field. And we're in that I'm in that weird spot with him where he had a bad game, 2.9 fantasy points because he caught a late 2-point conversion, but double-digit targets.
Those 2-point conversions are such a tease, aren't they?
Yeah.
You get your 2 points, you feel good, but they really mean nothing for future weeks.
Yeah, very little. And but double-digit targets. And so now I'm thinking, okay, he's part of the and this week he plays Tampa. Great matchup. Do I keep him in my lineup?
Depends who you're benching.
No.
I think he's certainly a flex conversation guy.
Yeah.
But it depends what kind of spot you're in with bye weeks, with injuries.
Well, and then
he's certainly not a no-brainer.
You know who their leading receiver was last week? The Browns?
Higgins?
No, he's hurt.
Oh, my bad.
It's Higgins' backup, Damian Ratley.
Oh, yeah, Ratley.
6 for 82.
Classic Ratley.
What do I do with that?
Classic Ratley.
I don't know what to do with that. Anyway, some things you were wrong on.
Oh, there was a lot to choose from.
You were wrong on a few. Couple there.
Not a good week for me.
Just a couple where you said, hey, I think Alshon Jeffrey's going to bust. I think he had 2 scores.
Yep, didn't bust.
That didn't work out.
Was playing the old short week angle.
Yeah, which I don't think we have any idea if it's good or bad at this point.
Right, no, because it's like who didn't prepare, the defense or the offense?
And
go either way.
I always like to say, well, those games will be sloppy. So it's
last year
defenses.
they were.
Yeah.
Last year they were, and this year they seem to be. I mean, that Rams-Vikings game, forget about it.
This Thursday
even the Eagles, the Patriots-Colts game a couple weeks ago had a lot of offense. So it seems like this year that the old short week teams can't score is out the window.
Yeah, I never know if it was teams can't score, just they're going to commit turnovers, but it's a mess either way. I don't think we can take anything from those games. But I will say, I know home defenses on Thursday nights have been better until the Giants then this past week.
Yeah, well, they're just a bad team.
Yeah.
Well, you would think the home team should have a huge advantage. They don't have to travel, and there's only 3 days in between games.
Should help. But what if they were on the road and had to travel back?
I guess, but they're coming home either way, right?
Yeah, either way. All right, you said Buck Allen be a sleeper.
Oh, God,
we got the random. Oh, I guess it's Alex Collins.
19-1, Collins outrushed him.
Yeah,
carry-wise. Yeah,
that's
that
weird.
was brutal. Yep.
That was a weird one. One thing you got right, though, your most hated thing is trying to pick a quarterback bust. But you got it right.
Jared Goff, yeah, for all the wrong reasons. Well, not all the wrong reasons. I said if Kupp and Cooks were out, that he'd be a bust. They both played. The weather wasn't great, but I did say that they were going to run all over Denver.
The weather wasn't great. What a joke that was. Yeah. All Sunday morning, I'm seeing all this stuff on Twitter. Snowstorm, all this snow, this and that. People asking start and sit, I think I'm going to start Royce Freeman because all the snow and this and that. And I had read a couple things, and it was pretty clear it was going to snow before the game. They had a tarp on the field. By game time, snow was going to... I mean, it was cold.
Right.
It was cold.
That's what they say about Denver. The weather turns quick.
But there was no snow.
They say, it snows, but it doesn't stick a lot of the time.
Yeah, that people went overboard on that.
Anyway, I think the thing to take away there
is
that the Denver defense is not good in general, but really not good against a run.
Not lately.
They've been gashed 2 weeks in a row, 200-yard rushers last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then even
200-yard rushers.
Right, that's what I was trying to say.
I know.
200-yard rushers last 2 weeks, and then throw in Bilal Powell had 100 against them in that
99.
same Jets game.
Yep.
And teams are just running on them. So I'm sure you're going to fire up David Johnson this week anyway, but maybe it's a little get-right game for him against Denver.
That should just be nothing but running back and forth because the Cardinals are horrible.
The other bust, which I got right for the wrong reasons, was Alfred Morris. I just thought the Green Bay rush defense would be good. It wasn't.
Right.
But apparently Alfred Morris is no longer the backup to Matt Breida.
Well,
and apparently he's not hurt either.
Yeah, let's get to that.
Which basically leads us to the first couple of guys.
That's right. Our still unsponsored search engine segment. We're going with Lycos?
I feel like we've already done that one.
I know. Well, at a certain point, there's only so many.
I know.
How about Yahoo?
We really need.
Let's go.
Let's throw them a bone.
Semi-modern.
Let's throw Yahoo.
All right, let's Yahoo these guys.
You know what? That'll get the Google price up by throwing Yahoo around.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Let's Yahoo these guys, the most trending players so far this week for whatever reason. And Alfred Morris is up there after the Monday Night No-Show. 1 snap, no touches. And
I'm still searching for him. I can't find him.
I don't know where he is.
Online, on the field.
But this is a Shanahan thing because Kyle's dad did this with Alfred Morris back in the day, and now it's just this is all a weird.
There are family issues with the Morris
twisted father-son game that they're playing, and Alfred Morris is a pawn.
I saw him come in and get 1 carry, but there was a penalty.
Okay.
So it was waved off, and then I never saw him again. So he was good enough to come in for that 1 carry.
Right.
That got wiped off, but then
all I know is that there were the 3 different running backs touched the ball on San Francisco's first 4 plays, and none were Alfred Morris. So that's not good. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone saw. First of all, no one thought Breida was going to play.
Right.
That's number 1.
Check.
He was doubtful going into the weekend. Had a Saturday practice. They kind of said, "Oh, we'll see. Game time." I thought it was gamesmanship. Sure enough, plays didn't look limited. Had a touchdown.
I had Morris in my lineup. It was awesome. I had no way out on Monday night.
So there was that, first of all. And then we certainly didn't think that, if Breida played, we still assumed they'd split.
Right.
Because they've been doing that all year.
Right.
There's absolutely no warning to this. Raheem Mostert, who had a fumble, issue earlier in the year. But
it's not even that. This is weird. He's a 4th-year undrafted free agent.
Right.
I know undrafted free agents have made it before, but you feel like you've kind of heard of them, right? They've had a cup of coffee before. Mm-hmm. This guy's been in the league for 4 years. He's had 7 carries before this year.
And he had 12 Monday night for 87 yards.
But how does that happen? I don't know. I never heard of this guy before this year. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm sure you have, being the fantasy expert that you are.
Obviously.
But is it that often that a 4th-year undrafted free agent gets a shot?
Not because he's forced into duty.
Right.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Is this guy like a special teams maven that's been stuck around?
He's a maven. I know that.
For 4 years, and now he just had to get some carries?
Yeah, I don't get it.
He looked pretty good, though.
He did, and it's one of these classic things that should remind everyone that as much as we think we know, we don't know. I can't imagine there's anyone who saw this coming. At best, they could have said, I don't trust Morris.
Right.
But there was...
12 for 87?
12 for 87. And now, do you pick him up? Is he worth owning?
I think you have to, because I don't think there's any guarantees that Breida stays healthy. This guy's the backup, and he looked pretty good.
Right.
And the offense moved on the road to Green Bay. Not that Green Bay's got a great D, but, they easily could have won that game.
Yeah.
The offense maybe looked even better when he was in it.
Yeah, Beathard hasn't been... He was a trainer a couple weeks ago, but for the most part, he's been serviceable. He's been as good as a quarter of the starters in the league right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's absolutely been serviceable.
But
besides those guys, I know there's some other guys. You had a line about there's some pretty good running backs out this week on bye. And there's some kind of committee backs that you kind of like.
This is the thing. They might not even be committee backs. We have 4 guys this past week who basically were their team's starter. Their team's RB1, and Frank Gore, Marlon Mack, Peyton Barber, Ito Smith, all of them available in more than 50% of Yahoo leagues.
So you're putting Ito ahead of Tevin Tevin Coleman?
He got one more carry.
Okay.
And he scored in 3 straight games. So, that one.
He's on the other 3. Yeah, they seem like they're the starters.
No, so that one's like a split. But I'm saying, like, the fact he got one more carry, and it wasn't like, oh, he got a bunch late. Like, no,
he's involved in the
playing
offense.
more.
Yeah.
Early. So, but it's so weird to me because, most times when it's like there's a bunch of quote unquote starting running backs available on the waiver wire, it's because there's an injury. Like, oh, David Johnson got hurt.
Right.
So who's the backup? I mean, obviously Ito Smith, Devontae Freeman got hurt, so that's sort of the reason. But these other guys were just there. They've been there all. I mean, we talked about Frank Gore for damn near all season, but certainly 2 weeks ago, we're like, hey, this guy's the starter, not Kenyon Drake.
He's not going away.
No one picked him up.
Hit 15 for 101.
10% owned in Yahoo leagues.
15 for 101 against a pretty good Bears
against
D.
the Bears. Mack was a guy who was hurt.
Right.
So we kind of didn't know his deal, and Hines had looked really good.
Owned. He's probably owned.
He was owned in under
league.
50%, I think. So, yeah. But, yeah, in a lot of leagues. And Barber was this guy we thought was on his way out.
Right.
Because we thought the Ferrari.
He's owned, dropped.
Ronald Jones is, hey, he got more carries before their bye. He's starting to break out. And then it was just 100% Barber.
Pretty much. Jones had a couple.
But... I mean, the vast majority.
What was weird
Barber.
is that Jones seemed like he was the passing down back. All the reports out of USC and in training camp was that he can't catch a pass.
There's a reason. Yeah, I know. Everything is strange. So we look at these 4 guys. I think obviously all should be owned. The question is, who do you like long term out of this group?
It's got to be Gore or Mack.
It's got to be. And then you say 2 guys out of 4.
It's got to be Gore, Matt.
Unenthusiastically.
I'm still hesitant on Gore just because he's old, but
he's 35.
It depends what you want, right? Like, I don't think Gore's ever going to be a high ceiling guy anymore.
Right.
But if you need a guy to put in your lineup that shoot for 80 yards, like, I feel like he's a safe bet for 60 to 80 yards if that's what you're looking for.
I think Kenyon Drake's goal line fumble helps Gore.
Yeah, they put Drake right back in the game, and he had a couple of big plays.
I know.
He was crying on the sideline.
Yeah.
He definitely was not in a good place. And then Mack, I feel like Mack's got the most kind of room to, Indy's throwing the ball well.
Right.
Luck's throwing the ball well. He's okay.
Well, they're throwing the ball a lot.
They're throwing the ball a lot, but maybe that opens up some running lane. I think Mack's got a pretty decent ceiling to take the job. See, I don't think Ito can take the job.
Right.
If Coleman was gone, then he's clearly got the highest ceiling because of the Atlanta offense.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I don't think he can take the job.
You know why he's called Ito?
I know you do.
I do. I'm asking if you do.
Okay, well, I know now, but I didn't know yesterday.
Oh, I forgot if we had talked about it.
We talked about this, but
yeah, so apparently as a baby, he looked like the judge from the OJ trial, Lance Ito, and his family started calling him
It's a really
Ito.
odd...
His real name's Romarius or something like that.
It's a real odd name. So, what do you think out of these 4 guys?
God, I don't like any. Just because I don't think the Colts can run the ball. I don't think the Bucs can run the ball. Ito's still splitting, and Frank Gore is old. But if I have to take one, honestly, I think I'm gonna take Mack. But I don't feel good about that.
Yeah, I think
they're just bad at running.
Yeah,
and he gets hurt all the time.
That's a problem.
Yeah,
I clearly think Barber's the worst of the 4, to be honest, unless they have a great matchup.
I guess so. He's been okay in the past.
Gore's the safest, but
I mean, Ito, he's never gonna have a lot of yards, but that team.
There's a lot of yards to go around on that team.
Yeah, they move the ball, and then we could throw Mostert in this group too. I mean, he's not a quote unquote starter like these guys maybe kind of are, but he's another one. So it was a big running back week on the waiver wire. I think all 4 of these guys. You look at their matchups this week. Gore, great matchup against the Lions. We'll talk about some of them, but Gore, great matchup against the Lions. Barber, like that matchup against the Browns. The Giants aren't anything special against the run for Ito Smith. And then Mack against the Bills, they're nothing special against. I think all 4 are in lineups this week.
Yeah, for sure.
They should be. We were talking about Mack, though, in that Colts offense. Another guy who's trending is T.Y. Hilton because of the injury. And here's our Dr. Alex, when he was in here, said, hamstring injuries, you got to let him sit. We talked about Sammy Watkins came back 6 days later, looked fine. But T.Y. Hilton's a guy who looks like he might have kind of Dalvin Cook's deal.
Yeah, but we just don't know with these hamstring injuries, right? It's not like these teams have to tell us everything. All we know is that they're not practicing. And we hear hamstring. We have no idea what level it is, but his doesn't seem great. It's been 2 weeks already. And
the outlook doesn't look great this week.
Probably not.
So Chester Rogers has been stepping up. I mean, Ebron's really been the guy.
Yep.
Without question, because Doyle's been out too, which has helped.
And now they're throwing it both times. They're throwing it swope now, too.
Yeah, came out of nowhere. But Chester Rogers has stepped up. Ryan Grant, they had, who was the rando that caught a touchdown last week? It wasn't Pascal, it was the other guy.
Oh.
It's like Marcus Harris? Did I make that name up?
Oh, no.
Who was it? Let me check.
That wasn't the...
Marcus Johnson.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he caught the touchdown. But Chester Rogers, target machine 10 last week.
Well, they're throwing the ball 50 times a game.
That helps.
So there's going to be targets to be had.
And they also got a guy called Mo Alley Cox, which I enjoy too.
He's an awesome
He's another backup.
He's up there with Ha Ha Clinton Dix. It's great names.
Yeah.
No, Luck seems to be, I don't know if he's getting stronger, but he seems like he's getting a little better.
He's lifting weights?
So he's over 300 yards his last 3.
Right.
We talked about his 16 passing TDs already, on pace for well over 40. And the other thing, too, if you're looking way ahead, so they still have 2 Jags games left, who, granted, after last week, maybe they're not as scared. I still think the Jags have good D.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with them.
But neither of them are during the fantasy playoffs. Other than that, they don't have anything too scary on their schedule. They're
a team that's always primed for garbage time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, can happen any game, any week, which helps the costume. No, they're one of these sort of good offenses that's really not that good. Like, Chester Rogers can't really catch.
Right.
But he gets 10 targets, so he gives you fantasy stats.
I think Luck is an every week starter, period.
I think at this point.
And I think you check the lineup, basically.
Yeah.
If Hilton's in, obviously you're playing him. Maybe you're not playing Rogers, but if Hilton's out, all those other guys become in play.
You're at least thinking about it. But what was weird, though, is that Hines just disappeared last week after it looked like he was kind of going to be a main guy because he only had 3 targets. It's one thing to not get carries, but to disappear in the passing game is weird, and I think he'll sort of pop on and off, and he might be a problem in terms of never knowing when to play.
Yeah, I feel like those passing down backs, they're really volatile.
Yeah.
Unless you're James White.
Right, yeah, James White's been money. Dion Lewis for the most part, but he's had some bad weeks, not for lack of opportunities, just bad weeks. Because the Titans' offense is
I sat through
the worst thing on
way
earth.
Too much of that Titans game, hoping that Dion Lewis could do something.
And this week they're the only game in town at 9:30 a.m. So the question is, Eastern, do you want to get up and watch that, or do you go because it's the Titans? I'm out.
Honestly, the Titans should just be the only. They should be the 9:30 game every week until they show me more.
Like a scrimmage, or do they play someone else?
I guess it can be real. Okay. It's just their effect because I own Corey Davis, because I own Dion Lewis and Derrick Henry. I associate some of my Sunday at 1 o'clock time to them, and I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, they're ugly.
So I'd rather have that be on at 9:30 while I'm kind of doing some other things, because really no one should devote all their attention to those Titans games.
No, you definitely shouldn't. Well, Hilton's hurt. Talked about him. Another injured receiver, Cooper Kupp, was injured last week, had the concussion, but played. Pretty nasty horse collar tackle. Came back in the game after it, but really didn't do anything. Looks like he's going to be out this week. So we had this question last week when him and Cooks were hurt. Does Josh Reynolds just step up? Does Gerald Everett step up? This week, good matchup against the Niners. We know Gurley's the bulk of the offense. Cooks and Woods are still going to be there. Woods is a monster. But could one of those secondary guys step up and be a good sleeper? Because I just always like good. It's kind of what we're saying, the opposite of the Titans. I don't want anyone on the Titans. I just like guys like good offenses.
Everyone on the Rams. With Cook still there, Woods has been awesome.
Yeah.
So
he kind of had a down first week, and it was like, ooh, Cups and Cooks and Cups and Cooks, and now it's just like Woods is their number one.
Yeah. No, Woods has been awesome.
Yeah.
So Cooks is out. The big thing with Josh Reynolds a couple weeks ago was we thought both receivers might be out, right? So now Cooks is fine. So Cup's out. Okay. I feel like he's barely a flex. Like
Reynolds.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because it's not like, Gurley's still going to get the ball.
Yeah.
Woods is still going to get the ball. And Cooks is still going to get the ball.
And the 49ers can't cover tight ends, which I actually think either Everett or Higbee shows up with the touchdown this week, too.
Talk about the Rams and how good their offense has been.
Yeah.
It's not going to slow down anytime soon. Their next 6 games, San Francisco, Green Bay, New Orleans, Seattle, Kansas City, and Detroit.
Yeah.
Those are 6 pretty good matchups.
Very good matchups.
And they're a pretty good offense.
Pretty good offense.
So I think if you're an owner of a Rams player, I think you're going to have some good times the next 6 weeks.
You want Rams, bring them in. Try to trade for him. God, what would it take to get Todd Gurley?
I don't know if there is a deal.
I mean, it'd have to be a lot for a little to a team that like has Gurley and nothing else.
It would have to be like, I wouldn't listen to it unless I think I'd still want like a top 5 running back
plus something.
Right.
So you're saying like you'd want Kareem Hunt plus
like a wide receiver 1.5?
Good Lord, that's a lot to give up.
Gurley's been amazing.
I know. But don't you think he's due to have
Because
a
I'd
bad
sit there and be
game?
like, I don't need to make this trade. Like, why? You know what I mean?
Right.
Why would I do this? Make me want to do it.
Yeah, make me. Yeah, no, it would take a lot for sure. All right, and now the opposite of a hurt receiver. A receiver is doing poorly. A guy who is on the rise, who I whined and complained about a lot last week. Josh Gordon.
Saw a lot of
the
positive
mini
things.
bye.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he just was like a normal guy.
Score one for the mini bye.
It's funny because he didn't catch a touchdown, almost didn't, and didn't have huge numbers. But I was so encouraged after that game as a Josh Gordon owner. I was like, he's on the field.
Yeah.
He's just.
Well, that was the first thing.
He's a normal player.
Right. It was awesome.
And their target, he led the team in targets.
So I got 63 out of 78 snaps.
Yeah.
Led the team in targets with 9. And we only had 4 for 42.
Right.
But, did lead with 9. Liked that a lot. Was on the field.
50-yard touchdown.
Oh, he almost
literally
had that.
in his hands.
That cost me the week.
Cost me the week.
One of several things that could have cost me the week.
Same here.
It was in his. I saw the interference happening too, and I was like, oh, he'll never catch. And then he almost caught it.
Yep.
And I was like, oh man, that was it. That was the one.
Yep.
That would have changed everything. Because then you're looking at 5 for about 90 and a touchdown with all the snaps, with all the targets.
He's like top 15 if he catches that. He doesn't. He's still like, well, we'll see.
Nothing but positive signs for Gordon. Which we know the Patriots, right? So. Is it going to be a 1 week
exactly.
dip? It
could have been a game. Here's the thing I'll say, though, against the Bears now this week on the road. That Bears, Frank Gore ran on them a bit, so maybe that run defense isn't as great as we thought. But their weakness is definitely their corners. I think that's where you attack them, is with receivers. So I really like Gordon again this week. But, yeah, it'll be interesting because the rest of the offense, like Gronk, he doesn't seem to be Gronk.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous specifically this week about a bit of a letdown week for the Patriots going to Chicago after the Kansas City game.
They should be fired up, embarrassed.
They should be,
back home.
Yeah,
we got all those angles.
It's the Patriots, so I'm sure they'll win. But I could see it being a bit of a letdown week on the road after that big win.
Well, it's just their big thing has been how well they've been running the ball.
Yeah.
And if they can't do that, with the Bears, the weird thing about the Bears last week, you're playing Brock Osweiler. They caused turnovers, but no sacks.
Yeah.
That's weird because I was always like, Brady, when they face teams like with good pass rusher, that's sort of the one little minor kryptonite, right? And it's like,
did you see how mobile Brady was on Sunday night?
It helps when guys don't tackle you when they have the chance to.
I feel like there should have been a bigger story made. Like the announcer, like Collinsworth and Michaels were definitely bringing up that they thought he let go because he didn't want to take a roughing the passer penalty.
And then he said that afterwards, but he might have just been a little CYA with that.
But it also had it didn't seem to have legs. Like I was hoping that got legs, like the Clay Matthews stuff.
I don't see how it couldn't have.
Yeah, the Clay Matthews stuff was so big early in the season. I thought this would be the other way. See what happens, with these penalties, but it didn't really happen. Yeah,
that was just, I don't know, I guess, I don't know why it didn't. It felt like it should have been a bigger deal than it was. But, everything. So, the Pats, the offense is still good, obviously. White is automatic. Michelle looks automatic most weeks. Brady still gets his, even if it's really spread around. But the
Edelman looks fine.
He looks fine. Yeah,
Edelman looks fine. Yeah. Hogan had a sign of life last week.
A little bit. So no, they're still fine. But Gordon is the one I'm most excited about. Not optimistic about.
How can you not be? Have you seen his arms?
Oh man, that guy looks good. He's been working out with Andrew Luck. I think they do some squats together and some benches, some shoulder presses.
Cool.
Just gonna name different exercises.
Not like Edelman working out with the Celtics while he's on bye.
Oh man,
don't you love those Boston sports? All those teams getting together.
No one loves those guys. It's all super annoying. Do you like A-Rod though in his Red Sox uniform?
What could have been?
It's totally off topic, but when he rips it open and goes, "I'm a Yankee for life." You played for other teams, bro, too.
Yeah, you were not a Yankee.
You were not a Yankee for life. I don't think Yankee fans claim you.
Yeah, they
don't like you.
They don't.
You don't get to do that.
I don't know if you saw it because it was on the Fox pregame, but it was after Bradley's grand slam last night. Ortiz in the break.
Yeah.
Going absolutely nuts during their break.
Real objective journalist.
They weren't being journalists at the time. They were on break.
David Ortiz is never a journalist.
Or objective.
No, he is not. God, I hope they bring back the SNL sketch. Keenan's still there. We can get some Fongo, Arroz con pollo. All right, let's go into sleepers and busts for this week. 4 teams on bye. Green Bay, Oakland, Pittsburgh, Seattle. So 4 pretty good fantasy teams. Obviously, Pittsburgh, with Green Bay, those guys have been hurt anyway. Oakland sucks. I guarantee you Amari Cooper owners are so happy they don't have to think about him this week.
You see Gruden wants to get a first-round pick for Cooper.
I mean, what are we even doing? Yeah. Does he mean fantasy pick?
I don't know. Yeah.
Can other teams trade him? Like, is there a GM fantasy draft every year and he gets a first-round pick in that? And then Seattle, which is also kind of a headache, I feel, most weeks for people.
I'm so glad I own 0 Seahawks on
Yeah, me
team.
too. But, certainly Green Bay, Pittsburgh especially sucks. And James Conner, they might have had their last hurrah with him. But we don't know for sure. We'll find out.
Maybe on show up yet?
That's week 8. We're worried about week 7. Sleepers and busts.
I give you props for this one.
I don't care.
This should tell you how bad the opposing defense is if this guy's your sleeper.
No, I got big balls, number 1. That's first and foremost. No, my quarterback sleeper this week, Eli Manning.
Wow.
What do you think of that?
I think
Monday night.
Cut to next week. What do you have to say for yourself?
What'd you pick Eli for? No, look, the Falcons are terrible. And we said that last week when I picked Jameis, which was a layup, and it was a layup. But every quarterback but Nick Foles, at least 3 touchdown passes. Jameis went for 4. Now, the counter is, yeah, but Eli's worse than Nick Foles.
I was going to say.
That's the counter, and I get it. But Eli's got weapons who he can throw short passes to, and they can just take it to the house.
Well, he's only throwing short passes, so.
Oh, if he's throwing it all. But that was the thing. The Eagles in week 1, no Jeffrey. It was just nothing but 3-yard passes to Nelson Aguilar. And then to Ertz in the second half. That was all they had going for him. And Eli, he can throw a little slant he can still complete slants to Odell Beckham.
Can he?
He can. He can throw screen passes to Saquon Barkley.
We know that.
Sounds like
definitely throw dump.
Sounds like Ingram's going to be back in a dome. Nice dry game.
Oh, yeah.
No wind.
Yeah.
I feel once we get over 4 miles per hour, that's shaky ground for Eli.
How many more angles you want to throw in there?
Maybe they'll turn.
A couple more?
Monday night, Witten and Booger are going to be fawning over Eli.
Close to home in the South? No?
Oh.
Can I get an angle on that?
He gets back to the South, man. He gets some grits and whatnot. Yeah. So
some angles there.
He's going to, look, no one's going to start him probably. I get it. But it's there.
What situation do you have to be in to start Eli Manning this week?
Well, I think you just need to be like me and have big balls and understand that he's going to have a good game.
So you're benching Rivers this week?
No. But that's because he's playing in London, and that's his town. But, I just think Eli will have a good game, and certainly for DFS purposes.
All right,
but it's a Monday night, so it's not even main slate.
Let's throw out some stats. What do you think?
Oh, he's going to finish. He's going to have a big game. He's going to have like 303.
You think he's going to have 303?
Yeah, because I think it's going to be a lot of yards after the catch.
A lot of yak.
A lot of yak. Here are the totals. Maybe not 300. 250. Winston, 395. Rossberger, 250. Dalton, 337. Breeze, 396. Cam Newton, 335.
Yeah, Eli's not those people, though.
I know.
No, it's if anything, it's goes to show how bad the Falcons' D is.
It's really bad.
And they have a good offense.
Right.
So
and I mean, it is at home.
It's going to be garbage time.
It's in a dome.
It's going to be garbage time.
You think they should get a pass rush, but I just think those other players will do a lot with a little. That's my call.
Garbage time.
Yeah, I left you the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah,
this
one was. I've been looking at this for a while because I'm a Ben Roethlisberger and Aaron Rodgers owner on my 2 teams. They both have Week 7 buys, so I've been looking ahead with the good matchups for Week 7. This one was kind of easy. Joe Flacco versus the Saints. Saints are going to score, we think. Probably. They usually do.
On the road, though, against the team that's giving up.
Outside on grass. We don't like that.
That's giving up. Is it? I think it's turf.
It might be turf.
But they're
either way.
But the Ravens, look, 15 points per game allowed? Like, it's crazy how low they've been keeping scores except for that Week 2 road game.
Saints give up the 3rd most fantasy points to quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And you know who's due? John Brown's due.
John Brown's
due for a long one.
Bigger than that, though, and we'll talk about him a little more in depth later, is the Willie Snead revenge game that's coming.
That's big. A lot of people are going to be tuning in for that reason.
And Crabtree showed
Willie
up.
Snead, the 4th.
Yeah, right, the 4th. The 4th. But Crabtree showed up lately. It is a great matchup. It almost feels like... Another thing I like about the Ravens, 3 straight road games. They're going to be happy to be back home.
Okay.
I think that helps.
There's an angle.
Yeah,
There's
it's a good angle.
They're happy at home. Some home cooking, sleeping in their own beds for a week.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, get those crab cakes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I like it, too.
What's funny, like, can you picture Flacco having, like, a 300-yard game with 4 TDs, though?
Yeah, no.
Like, it's like I feel like he's a sleeper and he's definitely worth starting for the guys that are out. But I still and I'm doing it. I still feel like it's going to be 303. That's where that's the most he's gonna do.
But see, they'll throw a lot. So he could definitely, I could see it being a ton of yards, but it does, for whatever reason, with him feel like there's a limit on his touchdowns.
He doesn't get too involved in silly season.
No. Well, week 1 he had a ton of yards. I know that.
I can't picture Joe Flacco with a 4-touchdown game.
Yeah, I know.
It's not his thing.
But this is the spot to do it if there is one.
Who you got? Who's your bust?
Yeah, week 1 he had 236 yards, 3 touchdowns against the Bills. My bust, I'm gonna say Matthew Stafford. I don't feel great about it just because I feel Stafford and the Lions are good enough that he kind of gets numbers no matter what. But, the Dolphins, pretty good. Pretty good. Not a bad defense. At
home.
Yeah, I mean, they're 25th fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks. So obviously that's solid. They're giving up yards, about 290 a game, but they've been limiting touchdowns and some things like that. Maybe that's fluky and Stafford can get it done. I usually like guys coming out of the bye, but yeah, the fact it's a road game, and I just look at some of these other
Dolphins
quarterbacks.
Are playing ugly. They're just playing ugly.
Yeah.
They're just kind of grinding their way to some wins.
And you can run on them, and I think the Lions want to run more. And whether or not they can remains to be seen. But Kerryon Johnson's looked pretty good the past couple weeks. Easy when a team has a bye to forget about that. And, and this should be a big Theo Riddick game, so we'll actually see if they do that. That could help Stafford as well. But just overall, I think I'd rather start Flacco over him. I should start Eli over him, but that's very difficult to do.
It's difficult to pull the trigger on the Eli start.
Baker Mayfield, maybe, rookie on the road, maybe you don't do that. But these are guys with clearly better matchups, and who I think will get stats. And Stafford, I could see a mediocre Stafford game this week.
247 and 2 maybe. Is that a bust?
You think 247 yards?
Not really.
You're predicting it down to the.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I bring to the table.
That's pretty good. We'll see. Why?
Well, I feel like you left me a lot of low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, I did.
I
felt bad for you.
I do. I feel like
anyone who uses a waiver claim on Doug Martin during his bye week, I feel bad for them.
I'm on tilt. I don't know which way is up right now in that fantasy team. But thanks for leaving Deshaun Watson out there.
That's a layup.
At Jacksonville.
That's a layup.
He was not good last week.
Bruised lungs.
2 interceptions, 3 fumbles, 1 lost. Took 7 sacks. And the Jags, they were a little embarrassed last week in Dallas.
They were very embarrassed.
So they're going to come home this week. They're going to get their acts together.
Their what?
Their acts.
Okay.
They're going to get their acts
together.
Together.
Oh, plural.
Yeah.
Each individual act needs to come together.
Right, they will.
Not a collective
And,
act.
they're a little more familiar with Houston. They're more familiar with Watson. So be a little more comfortable. Tough division game. Probably going to be low scoring. I don't know what happened in Dallas last week. Jags defense is better than
Jalen
that.
Ramsey didn't. Did you see his interview after the game?
I didn't.
The guy who talks more shit than anyone, and they're just sitting there and they're like, what, asking him typical questions. He just said, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's all he said.
Yeah,
I feel like when you talk as much as he does.
I don't know about you.
Yeah. You can't talk as much as you do and then pull that move. At least then refuse to talk, take a fine, and people be like, oh, he's passionate.
Right.
He's pissed. Go out there, you just look like a chump.
I'm only here so I don't get fined.
Yeah. Anyway, now Watson, that seems like a layup, which is probably why he'll have a good game. Because it's Deshaun Watson, he can have a good game.
No,
any
I'm
week
on fire now with quarterback picks. So
is that how it works?
Yeah.
Last week you were like, I don't want to pick quarterbacks. Yeah. That's how you sound.
I know.
You sound like that, by the way.
I know.
And yeah. So, all right, that's fair. We'll see. The other guy. Talk about tough matchup, Drew Brees. Ravens will have by far the least fantasy points of quarterbacks.
Outside. We know about Drew Brees. But let down after the certificate game.
Oh, my God. Once you're riding high after certificate and a bye week. But the question is, can you not... And we could throw Brady into this, too, on the road, on grass, in Chicago. And
yeah, I don't think that's a great matchup either.
But can you bench either of those guys? Well, you're saying you can bench Deshaun Watson...
I think you can consider benching them for Flacco, and if Jameis was out there for sure. I don't know if I can bench him for Eli. It all comes back to Eli.
What about Baker Mayfield? Tampa.
If you can deal with the pit, I mean, he's going to throw.
Rookie QB on the road.
I feel like, you know what, though, that Tampa's D is so bad. He's going to throw 2 or 3 TDs.
But guess what? So is Atlanta's.
He's going to throw 2 or 3 TDs.
And Eli's got 2 rings. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, God. I might know about those 2 rings.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
No, it's funny. I'm just saying there's people, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, Baker this week.
But you know what? Because Baker actually throws the ball downfield. And Eli, you watch those games and you're like, throw the ball to Beckham. And it's like he takes one look and then he dumps it off to Barkley.
He is cooked, man. He is so cooked. This is the week, though. This is the last great week, and everyone's like, and all like the former players who are like in Eli's corner are just gonna be going nuts about. I told you, got to stick with him.
Still got it.
And then he's
no one will acknowledge the fact that he's playing a terrible defense.
Cooked. All right, moving on. Running back. We already talked about Frank Gore. My sleeper pick though is Kenyon Drake.
Okay.
I'm zigging while people are zagging. I actually like both.
You always do.
I like both, but Drake. Quietly, since his 2-week stretch of 8 total carries or 5 total yards, whatever it was, he has quietly been involved again.
They were resting him because they know they're in a playoff. They're in a playoff.
I don't know about that, but I do know that he's quietly been very solid. And he had that goal line fumble. If he doesn't do that, I feel like we're all super excited about him this week.
He punches that in, it's totally different.
Yeah, so now it's like I feel though he's at least back to being a real player. The Lions' 3rd most fantasy points allowed to backs. They're worse against the run than they are against receiving backs, but Drake 13 carries last week. I mean, that's, 57 yards, 6 carries, 46 yards the week before. The yards per carry's up, everything. Very active in the receiving game. So I do like Gore too, but I also like Drake.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to go Royce Freeman at Arizona. The Cardinals give up the 2nd most points to running backs.
Yeah, I got the most. I don't know what site you're looking at. You must be a PPR setting.
Maybe. Yeah. Either way, they're bad against opposing running backs.
They're pretty bad.
Also feeling it's Case Keenum's weird. He's throwing for a lot of yards. He throws a touchdown here, but he's not. If you watch the games, if you hear anyone from that, he's playing awful.
Yeah, he's terrible.
He's playing awful. Maybe Denver said, listen, we got to run the ball more. Let's finally start to take the ball out of this guy's hands a bit. I know Lindsey's been getting more carries than Freeman. But Freeman, quietly, as much as he hasn't won the job, he's averaging 4.7 yards a carry.
Yeah, solid.
He's got 3 touchdowns. This is certainly a week you can run in Arizona as long as... I can't imagine Arizona's going to blow them away in the first half. Right. Game strip's going to get out of hand. So I like Royce Freeman. And you might need Freeman this week with all those guys that are on bye.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm looking at the stats. So Arizona, and this is, I guess, a product of getting beat soundly, their running backs are averaging over 30 carries a game against them.
That means they're always behind.
Yeah, the next highest is Cleveland at 26.2. So that's a lot.
It's a lot of carries.
Because the Broncos and Lions are both allowing more rushing yards to running backs per game by a little bit, but Arizona 138.7 over a rushing touchdown per game to running backs they allow.
Yeah. I can see Denver.
And 57 receiving yards.
I can see Denver really trying to commit to the run.
I mean, I think
it's a little safer for Keenum.
I think Lindsey and Freeman are both like damn near RB1s this week.
RB1s?
I think so.
That's
both.
Wild.
Yeah, why not?
I'll say RB2s.
Yeah, play the stat. Both RB2s or one RB1, one RB2?
I'm not throwing either one as an RB1.
That's stupid. At least one has to be.
Okay, I'll just grab my stuff and leave then.
Yeah, you should. Why are we even doing this if you're going to give bad advice like that? All right. My running back bust, Alex Collins. This is a classic. Had his good week. People are back in after everyone was out.
How many times have we busted him this year? I've done at least once or twice.
Oh, he's a classic. Like, when in doubt, just throw Alex Collins in there.
I have no confidence in this guy.
Look, we talked about the split in carries between him and Allen, and it was pretty noticeable last week. But it's a tough matchup. Like, the Saints, I think people see the Saints and just think bad defense. They've been really tough against running backs this year, and maybe that's just because teams can throw on them. It's always tough to say. But you just look at the stats. This is running backs, 49 rushing yards a game against them. That's
not
it.
A lot.
On 17.6 carries a game.
And it's hard for Alex Collins to get 49 yards in a game.
Yeah, and you never know when the carries are going to fluctuate, and he's not going to get that many. So
could be a Buck Allen game, which I'm always off from predicting that.
So last week, Alex Collins was great, right? Scored twice. What was it? You know what yards per carry was last week?
I feel like I'm with Alex now. We're going yards per carry.
I know. We're going a lot on it. But
let's say 3.
No, 2.8.
2.8.
So Yeah, it's great when a guy gets 19 touches. I'll take that, even if the yards, because the total yards are going to be there usually. But I don't know. I just think I think it's a trick. It was a trap. It's a trap.
You sure it wasn't a trick?
It was a tricky trap.
Ooh, we should do a trick or treat segment for Halloween.
That's original.
Yeah, we should.
Should we do turkeys of the year for Thanksgiving too?
I don't know anything about that.
You've never seen that before?
I'm more of a trick or treat guy.
All right, trick or treat. Yeah. Those are classic.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not necessarily saying it's a Buck week. I'm just saying it's not an Alex Collins week.
Okay. Usually they aren't.
This is a Joe Flacco, Willie Snead.
Oh yeah.
Hayden Hurst week.
Well, John Brown's getting one.
Oh yeah,
Let's be clear about that. Let's be clear about that.
I didn't need to say him.
The only question is, will it be 40 plus, 50 plus, or 60 plus?
He's due for 50.
Yeah, he's due for a big one. All right, I'm gonna go Jordan Howard against Patriots.
Joe-ho.
Patriots are middle of the pack against running backs, but he hasn't topped 82 yards rushing yards all season. He doesn't get receptions. He's only had one game over 15 carries. Cohen's becoming more of a part of the offense. He's had over 100 yards in 2 straight games. And games, again, I said before that it might be a tough game for the Patriots, so this works a little bit against that logic, but I feel like the Bears are going to need to throw either way. You know, the Patriots they're not going to be held down all game.
Mm-hmm.
They'll find a way to score. Game script, it's probably not going to get out of hand.
Right.
But
yeah, I think this will be a close game.
I think this is more of a Cohen game. Patriots have had some trouble, and I'll get into this with my wide receiver pick. They've had some trouble with some kind of speedy guys.
Scatty backs?
You know, scat guys. So I'm going to go against Howard in this game, thinking I'm not sure he's going to be where the Bears game plan is centered around.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Pats stats, they're sort of, you said middle of the pack, fantasy points allowed to backs. It's largely just because they haven't allowed touchdowns yet, which can be fluky. And, that was something I pointed out last week for, who was it, the Titans? That they just hadn't allowed touchdowns, and Collins gets 2.
Right.
So, no, I'm with you, though, just mainly because I don't like Howard. I'm all fine picking against Howard. At this point, it feels like they're looking at him going, Tariq Cohen just gives us more options.
Yeah.
Like, he just makes our offense better and more versatile. And for whatever reason, Howard wasn't bad last week. Yeah, again, we're going yards per carry, but he averaged almost 5. But
I just don't think they have much of a commitment to him.
I don't either. And like you said, the targets have just gone down every week, and he's not involved in that at all. So, yeah, he's a short touchdown or bust guy.
Yeah, I think they're going to be throwing more.
Unless they say, hey, the best defense against Tom Brady's keeping them off the field, so we're just going to pound the ball. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. But, yeah, it's tough to bench Jordan Howard, though, right?
Are there more teams with, is there another team with as many narratives as we have for the Patriots?
No.
Whether it's for them or against them.
You either got to throw to keep up or throw because you're getting blown out. Or
keep Brady off the field. Maybe the Patriots are going to keep your guy off the field.
Right.
Take away the best option.
Yeah, it's every time. Yeah, the best option thing drives me nuts because other teams don't game plan against Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, DeAndre Hopkins. All right, sleeper wide receiver. I've talked about
back to this game again.
What's that? I've talked about him a million times, Willie Snead. But yeah, Saints allowing the most fantasy points to receivers. I have no idea if there's any bad blood. Willie Snead
there's always bad blood.
Just seems like the type of guy who has bad blood.
He's holding a grudge.
He reminds me of Steve Smith a little bit. I don't know really why. He hasn't punched any teammates that I know of, but he just seems like the type who holds a grudge.
Yeah.
And we've been using the term sneakily and very quietly. Very quietly, his targets are solid.
Ravens are throwing the ball.
Yeah, they're throwing the ball, and he's playing big in terms of targets. He hasn't scored since week 1, though. So it's very kind of under the radar. He hasn't really broken out, even though the targets, the catches are pointing to a breakout. And if it's going to happen, I think it's definitely going to happen this week.
Do you think, how does it work for the revenge game? Does it start in the wide receivers room? Does he go to his wide receivers coach, or does the coach already know, hey, Willie, we got you this week.
Right.
And does that funnel up through the offensive coordinator? Is it go straight to Flacco? Hey, throw this guy a bone.
Willie wants one.
Or is he just so jazzed up in the game? He's just open all the time, and there's no choice.
I think he's working out with Andrew Luck and Josh Gordon. They're doing push-ups.
Where did Andrew Luck workout routine come from?
I don't remember. You said something earlier.
Because I said he's getting stronger.
Yeah, he's getting stronger. So I think they all work out together, and that energizes them, and then he just hits the field with that blonde mane and goes nuts.
I just want to know how does it get How does it get funneled up the chain to be like,
I don't
guys,
either.
this is my revenge game?
I think he just...
Is the rest team saying, let's do it for Willie?
No, I think at some point he says, I'm going to be open all day, Joe.
All day.
I know these guys. I know. Trust me. I'm going to be open. Look my way.
Okay.
That's my prediction on that.
Well,
so,
I'll be tuning into that one to see the Willie Snead the fourth revenge game.
That's right. 10 targets last week. And the only worry I have about Willie Snead this week is that John Brown catches a bunch of 60-yarders and he never has a chance.
The good news is John Brown doesn't dominate drives.
Right.
He just grabs a quick 60-yarder.
But what if he does it every drive? What if he has 8 60-yard touchdowns?
That'd be great for me, probably not great for you.
No, that would suck. All right, who do you got?
Well, I alluded to this earlier. I'm going Taylor Gabriel.
That's my pick.
Taylor, you just left me all the guys.
That's 2 weeks ago.
Taylor Gabriel versus Patriots. Pats were torched by Tyreek Hill. Taylor Gabriel is
here we go.
So Taylor Gabriel is the cola to
Tyreek Hill's
Coke.
Coca-Cola,
right?
Yes.
So Patriots have trouble with these guys. Gabriel's had two straight games with 100 yards, which scares me a little because we've talked about.
What are the odds he does it 3?
But he's probably got a TD in him. He's got a TD in him.
Maybe.
Yeah, I still think the Bears are gonna have to throw on the Pats. Gabriel gets those short passes, the old extension of the running game, those wide receiver screens,
and sometimes actual runs.
Yeah, so I like Gabriel this week.
I don't mind him.
Oh, that's good.
He should be pretty good.
That's cool.
I'll put it this way. I would have rather had Snead than Gabriel, and you're all pissy because you tried to waiver Gabriel, didn't get him.
I
and
can't
Snead
have
was
Snead.
out there
I
for
already
free.
have John Brown.
Against the Saints, you can do it.
I'm not doing that, but then I got to bench another guy. Right. You'd rather have Brown than Snead, though.
Yeah, I'd rather have Brown than Snead. Why is that a question?
Well, it's because you're telling me to get both. I don't have room for all these guys.
But you had room for Taylor Gabriel?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Then you had room for Snead if you had room for Taylor Gabriel.
Nah, because it's 2 Ravens.
Oh, no, good point. I didn't think of it that way. All right, bust. So this is where it's weird. Mike Williams has...
Alex might call you out on this.
He might, but he's not here, so I don't care. But 3 straight weeks, Mike Williams has done next to nothing. 2 of those weeks, only 1 catch. Last week, 1 catch, 4 yards. So anytime we have a player like this who started hot, we have to say, is he just had a couple down games and he's about to rebound, or was his one hot streak?
Does he do?
Right. Or did he, like almost every, halfway decent receiver, have one hot streak during the year and his just happened to be weeks 1 through 3?
I think better days are coming for Mike Williams.
Yeah.
I think he's closer to do than done.
Do than done. Got it.
No, let's write that down for another segment.
Yeah, write that down.
Segment name.
Do or done. Do or do. That was, someone said that.
No, not us.
Not us. Someone else. But so Tyrell Williams had the 2 touchdowns last week, one of which came on just the most blatant false start I've ever seen in my life. That the refs didn't call it. The Browns kind of stopped playing, at least a couple guys on the pass rush, but old Phil Rivers didn't stop playing.
Never.
Chucked it, touchdown. So yeah, I don't know what to make of Mike Williams exactly, but I do know Tennessee, decent pass defense. And I still think, Keenan Allen's number 1. Tyrell's breaking out. Man, Melvin Gordon's quietly.
We need to get Alex back in for a Melvin Gordon talk.
Yeah, we should. But
I'm not too sure if he's a touchdown guy or not.
Quietly, as much as people are talking up Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon.
He's beasting.
Kind of Todd Gurley West, right?
Yeah.
West.
No, they're both wet out there.
Well, yeah, but I guess
South?
I should have said AFC.
Todd Gurley South.
Yeah. They're either way.
Yeah.
I don't know which is south.
Well, I'm still in San Diego, and they're not.
Right. No, yeah. I think they're in Carson, which is technically north. But anyway,
way too confusing.
We'll say AFC Todd Gurley.
Okay.
Quietly. Not so quietly.
We've got some things to talk to Alex about.
Yeah, we do. That's why must be why he's not showing up. So overall, I think he'll bounce back at some point just this week. I don't know. That London trip, come on. Who wants to make that trip?
You know what's weird about that?
Who wants to make that trip?
They send 2 West Coast teams to London.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird just in its own right, but hey, maybe everyone wants to play out there. Great.
Right.
They throw the game at 1, which I guess was for the West Coast fans maybe that's why it wasn't at 9:30.
Right. Last week's game you're saying.
Last week's game. Right.
Oakland, Seattle.
That might have been why it was at 1?
Yeah, maybe.
But even still, you're giving 2 West Coast teams a 10 a.m. game for their fans and even for their players. Those guys are jumping 8 hours.
Right.
8 hours of time zones. I don't know about sending West Coast teams out there.
And the Chargers. This is technically a Chargers home game too, so they're really.
But I do think one thing I would say about the whole Mike Williams thing. Don't you think the Chargers are one of those teams, and Rivers especially? It's not so much they spread the ball around, but from week to week, his touchdowns seem to go to different guys all the time.
No, they don't go to Keenan Allen.
No,
I know that.
Yeah.
I know, they're
all going to Gordon this year. Is where they're going.
I wasn't watching that game that closely. And I just looked at the box score at the end, the Chargers-Browns game, and they had, Keenan Allen had 4 rushes for 41 yards.
That was weird. I was going against Allen. I was like, why does he keep popping up in the rushing stats?
And I think, Mike Williams might have had a carry too, or another receiver. And I was like, what's going on? Are these like the Ty Montgomery? I know this is a sore spot.
Yeah, let's not go there.
The backwards, lateral. Or are they just running, doing jet sweeps?
I didn't watch much of that game either.
All right, who's your bust pick?
Well, he's a common guy that I just don't like. No
one likes this guy. No one.
Demarius Thomas at Arizona.
At least in the Sporting News office.
And I was going against him last week, and he was busting. Mm-hmm. And he got that stupid late TD pass, which I thought was going to cost me the game. Turns out it didn't, because I was going to lose no matter what. But anyway, going at Arizona, they're second best against wide receivers.
Yeah, because you can run on them.
Mm-hmm. And I would think Patrick Peterson spends more time on Demarius than Emmanuel Sanders. Not sure it matters a ton.
I'm done with that narrative.
But
it's is Patrick Peterson a shutdown guy? Do we ever know who he's going to really cover?
I don't know.
I don't know
anything
seems
anymore. Cool. He returns punts sometimes when they need it. Demarius hasn't had more than 5 catches in a game this year. I guess that's not a...
Yeah, he did. Week 1, he had 6.
Oh, my bad. My bad, thanks.
But lately.
He usually doesn't catch more than 5 passes in a game.
No, he's coming off his lowest targets of the season.
I called him a bust in the preseason. I guess he's been okay.
Stick with it. No one likes him.
I just don't think he's that great, and I'll bust him out this week.
Yeah, no one likes Demarius Thomas. That's fine. All right, tight end sleepers. I'm going well off the board.
It says off the board.
Former Illinois State Redbird. Played against.
I think I ran into this guy at a bar in Boston one time.
At least a cousin. James O'Shaughnessy.
Jimmy O'Shaughnessy.
So the Jags, Niles Paul's hurt. Osprey Jenkins is hurt. O'Shaughnessy stepped up last week. Had 4 targets, which doesn't sound like that much, but the little bit of time where Paul was out, but. The Texans aren't very good against tight ends. They allowed a touchdown 3 of the first 4 games of tight ends. They've been a little better lately because they've been playing some teams that don't feature tight ends. But I don't think they're very good against the position at all. And the Jaguars, what are they doing?
They got 3 okay wideouts.
That's
I'm waiting for something there.
I feel if you got 3, you got none at a certain point. And Blake
wide
Bortles,
receivers?
Yeah. And Blake Bortles is going to
just throwing out angles and narratives
all day.
It's lazy analysis all day long.
It's pretty lazy. But just got those long trips. But I don't know. I just feel like they're an offense that wants to use the tight end. And it never.
What makes you feel that way?
Because they go to them and then they don't, and I don't know. It's tough to describe. It's just a feeling I have in my gut.
You don't think it's a Blake Bortles can't make the outside throws situation?
That's part of it.
Because we've used that narrative before.
That's part of it too. So I don't know. I just kind of like the matchup a little bit. This guy's well off the radar for everyone.
And we've talked. It's a little tough for.
I want to see someone start Eli and James O'Shaughnessy.
Do it.
Tell me where.
That sounds like a DFS. That sounds like a DFS tournament winner.
That's a special,
right? Well, I'm going back to the well on this guy. Going with my boy Juice Uzomah.
Mm-hmm.
CJ Uzomah. Now basically the only tight end in Cincinnati. Crofts in a boot.
Mm-hmm.
Eifert, whatever his name is. I can't get it right. He's nowhere to be found. He ain't coming back anytime soon. Kansas City's the 3rd worst against tight ends. Since he's going to have to throw, they throw anyway.
Now we got that narrative with Kansas City.
You're going to have to score against Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
We know this. Come on. And I think they like to throw anyway.
Now you think they like to throw. You made fun of me for saying that.
Boyd's been awesome. Boyd's
been great.
But they like to throw to tight ends too. It's caught 6 of 7 targets last week for 54 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine for a tight end. You throw a touchdown in there, and it's a great week for a tight end. I'm going back to the well. Juice Uzomah. See if we can squeeze a little more out of him this week.
All right, I get it. Well, because we're losing Cook, we're losing Jimmy Graham, we're losing Vance McDonald, so people need tight ends.
Yeah, they need O'Shaughnessy and Uzomah.
That's right. It sounds like Evan Ingram will be back. That helps. And Greg Olsen was back last week. You
More
picked
on
him
him
as
in a moment.
Well,
I'll get to him right now if you want.
You picked him as a bust last week. He didn't do much. And
Stayed healthy though.
Well,
which
yeah.
is big.
But this week,
I'm busting him again against Eagles. Are the best team. I don't know if you know this, Matt. Eagles are the best team against tight ends.
Really?
And I don't know if you know this, but Olsen's still at risk for an injury every week.
Really?
He's definitely always going to be day to day. We don't have a lot of guys to choose from. You're probably starting Olsen either way.
I mean, he did have 7 targets last week, and at tight end, he's got a name. He gets targets. It's tough to sit him.
Gun to your head, are you going to start O'Shaughnessy or Greg Olsen?
I mean, someone like me with big balls, I'm probably going to start O'Shaughnessy.
You'd start Olsen.
But, yeah, of course. But, God, don't you wish you wouldn't sometimes?
Wouldn't what?
Like, wouldn't do stuff you feel you have to do like that?
Well, I was close to doing it last week. I was going to play Roethlisberger because Roethlisberger is my starter.
Right.
And I was saving Winston for this week. I said, you know what? You know what, Matt? I'm going to start Winston.
Yeah. And it worked.
Kind of.
But that's not a crazy one. That's not Eli or Jimmy O'Shaughnessy.
No. I'd still start Olsen over O'Shaughnessy, but I still think Olsen's potential for a bust this week.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of DFS, right? You can play these idiots.
Yeah.
And, you lose some money, I guess, but...
who needs money?
Yeah. All right, so I'm saying Cameron Brate, who, again, we talked about Brate being a surprise active. O.J. Howard, a big surprise, another tight end who's back now. And Brate caught a touchdown, 3rd straight game.
Winston loves him.
But that was his only target of the game. And that's a concern, especially against the Falcons. I mean, I know you can kind of do whatever you want against the Falcons, but they are terrible against tight ends. And O.J. Howard stepped up too, and I believe had a touchdown that game.
Yep.
But I just think I think we're seeing a changing of the guard. As much as we like that narrative of Winston likes Brate, he might, and he's still a red zone threat for sure. But 1 target's a worry. And the Browns are decent against tight ends this year,
Howard's finally coming into his own. I think he's over 50 yards, I want to say, in every game this year.
Yeah, and the Browns couldn't cover tight ends for 3 years, and they're actually doing okay this year at it. So
Winston also likes Godwin.
Yeah.
So there comes a point where are there enough balls to go around for 2 tight ends in Tampa?
So I don't Brate, whatever. Touchdown or bust.
Bust him out.
Which a lot of these guys are, but I play James O'Shaughnessy over him. How's that?
Okay.
I feel confident about that. All right, those are the sleepers and busts. I think we're going to go, 8 for 8? No, 16 for 16?
Probably. I mean, me and you are having that great of a season that I'm sure
we're due.
We will. We are due. We're due for something.
We're due for that.
Your fantasy team, I think I said this last week, your fantasy team's bad when you're looking at your sleeper and bust picks and you start rooting for those things to go right because you're really reaching for something to be in a good mood about on a Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough sometimes.
Do you want to talk about anything else? You want to talk about anything else in Sunday Night Football?
I'm too sad.
In your random
back-to-back Chiefs.
It's Patrick Mahomes, man. But here's my question. I asked you this yesterday. I don't know if we know the answer. Are we flexing already?
Yeah, it was a flex.
We're flexing already. Week 7, we're flexing.
I think this is the first week they could flex. And either way, they were like, Jimmy Garoppolo's hurt. We're getting the Niners out of there.
No C.J. Beathard love.
No. Which is dumb because, I mean, it's not dumb, but it kind of is because don't you still want to showcase the Rams?
Sure,
and the 49ers are a national team. Like, they're a national brand. They're one of, Packers, Steelers, Broncos, Cowboys. There aren't that many of those teams, and they're one of them. But also, okay.
They did just have a Monday nighter.
Yeah. No, that's true. But I mean, it was scheduled to be back-to-back primetime for them.
Right.
Because they were supposed to be on primetime. But also, okay, you don't want to do them. That's fine. How about Saints-Ravens? That's a great game.
Why not? We've talked about it enough. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, Willie Snead revenge game. You can get that on prime
Maybe
time.
They could give Willie Snead a certificate if he gets a TD that game.
That's what the people want to see because it is a bad week for games. There's not many good games at all. I mean, Panthers-Eagles, I'm guessing, was protected by Fox. Patriots-Bears is a pretty good game.
Yep.
Then we would have had back-to-back Patriots, but whatever. But, yeah. And we talk about this, too, at the office. The games that you're like, why are those teams playing each other?
Right.
Even though they play every 4 years.
Right.
Why are the Browns and Bucks playing each other? That doesn't seem like that's a preseason game.
Tiebreaker for the number 1 pick.
Yeah. I'm like, those teams don't play. The Browns and Bucks. So there's a lot of weird games. But, I don't know. We didn't need back-to-back Chiefs. I know everyone's nuts over Mahomes, but.
Yeah, we don't. We don't
need Andy Dalton in prime time. Yeah. So that's the big thing there.
I'm going to be hopefully not watching baseball Sunday night
Yeah,
we'll
that series will be over.
Hopefully it'll be. There will not be a Game 7 in the ALCS.
Right. Yeah.
Because last week, let me tell you about last week, watching a Patriots-Chiefs game, which was a great game, and watching Red Sox-Astros, same time, it was brutal. Mm-hmm. Absolutely brutal.
Yeah, what a tough life.
It was.
Basketball's back. I'm going to a Hornets game tonight.
That's
jealous?
Fun. No.
Hornets Bucks, baby.
No.
Yeah.
Not jealous at all. You should probably get out of here early to get...
Well, we know what it's like around uptown Charlotte on Hornets game days. My God, you can't even...
I'll be there in November when the Celtics are here.
Yeah, I got a free T-shirt, though, I think.
Cool.
Yeah, I wonder what their slogan's going to be.
Get in the hive? I don't know.
It's a good slogan. Probably call Jordan. Get Jordan on the phone. Tell him to do Get in the Hive. Yeah.
Challenge talk? Anything?
Nah.
Nothing?
It's good.
All right.
It's good. We'll
Still
see.
17 more episodes this season.
Show's never going to end. I know. It's going to be as long as the football season. Interminable. At this point, though, I need something to take my attention off this team. But when Willie Snead has a big game, I'm going to be excited because he's in my lineup.
Cool.
And Antonio Callaway is not.
Cool.
Here's a good start sit. Cardinals defense against the Broncos at home Thursday night. That sloppy Thursday night. Or Colts defense at home against Derek Anderson and the Bills.
Sounds like the Colts D.
God, it does. Especially since I picked up the Colts and dropped the Ravens last week and it cost me the week. I feel I have to play them to pay it off.
How bad is Nathan Peterman? Like, he's done, right?
Well, I mean, obviously he's not starting this week.
But I mean, he's done.
Yeah.
Like, as an NFL player, he's done.
I think just pretty much like he's got to move.
I mean, there's no way Colin Kaepernick's not better than him, right?
Colin Kaepernick. Yeah. Look at this hot button issue.
I'm just saying.
Bring it up.
I'm just saying.
Could have said 5 other quarterbacks.
I'm just saying.
You went, no, yeah, Colin Kaepernick's probably better than Nathan Peterman.
100% he's better than Nathan.
I mean, I assume virtually every quarterback is better than Nathan Peterman. So I don't think that's special. If anything, I will say this, not to get too Kaepernick heavy, but I will say this. If anything, that weakens, like I've seen people trying to like make like this guy's playing, like that proves Kaepernick's being blackballed. Right. I think it weakens his case because it just is like, this proves how dumb the Bills are because they could sign 1 million other guys better than him and they haven't. So it's not, Kaepernick ain't special.
I mean, Tom Savage just got employed again, right? Or was about to be signed.
Like, I feel like Brett Favre's better than him. Like, Kurt Warner's better than him.
Brett Favre in jeans is
Tony
better.
Romo's better than him.
Romo's definitely better.
So it's like, that doesn't
Romo would still be playing if Dak Prescott did not have that start.
If Prescott played like he is now, his rookie year? Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So, like, to me, that doesn't help his case at all. Like, I don't have Tommy Maddox, XFL MVP.
Tommy Maddox.
That guy's won awards.
Now you're just naming names.
Yeah, now I am. All right, let's get out of here. We're done with this one. For any more fantasy football needs throughout the week, go to sportnews.com/fantasy where we have it all. Rankings, sleepers, busts, tons of DFS stuff, whatever you're looking for, lineups. One of which, I believe one of my lineups this week features Eli Manning. So, no, it doesn't. I did Joe Flacco, not Manning. So, I guess no, because I can't, because he's Monday night. That's why I didn't. And I'm main slating it. But God, if I could have.
You popped out Eli Manning. Horde.
Eli, Beckham, Barkley, onslaught. Not even a stack. That's an onslaught when you go 3 deep.
Stack it up.
All day. Do those for those primetime contests. And we'll be back next week going over all the things we got right. So for Eric Ferreira, I am Matt Leteski. We'll see you next time.